That's my theme song, If I Can Help Somebody. My name is Minister Kujenga Eliah Shea, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about New Jerusalem, the End Time Fellowship. I'm here to talk about the economic rights movement and building coalitions with all peoples of faith to go to a higher level of organization and struggle. I'm also here to talk about the Perfection March on Wall Street. Those three things. We're here in the African and African American Extension Center, built in 1985 by my struggles and the struggles of all the black students. I would call us Edenites now. The Edenites at Ohio State University here on Mount Vernon Avenue. And we are here organizing the New Jerusalem End Time Fellowship. It's not a church, not a mosque, not a temple, not a synagogue. It is a fellowship. Fellows in a ship. We have here a number of books and materials. We have a lot of things in this facility for young people. We'd like for young people to come down and to see some of the materials here, to read some of these books. They're about the abolitionist movement, how we got the chains off of people, taught America to set people free, the end of slavery. It's about the civil rights movement, where we taught people in America to share the franchise, to share the vote. It's about the struggles that we went through in all the countries, in Haiti and Cuba, all the Americas, all on the African continent. Although I don't want to call it Africa anymore, because Leo Africanus, his nickname was the Butcher. Excuse me, he's a Latin man and Roman. He spoke Latin, which is no longer even spoken. Doctors write prescriptions in Latin nowadays. But basically, Leo Africanus was a butcher. He was the first emperor of the Byzantine Empire, which means the Eastern Empire, Eastern Roman Empire. And Amerigo Vespucci, was an Italian explorer who came after Cristoforo Colombo, commonly called Christopher Columbus. And we know what he did. But basically, we are now at the point where we are going to a higher spiritual level and mental level and educational level. So we invite people to come down to the Extension Center. I helped to build this place starting in 1970, and we're still struggling with a number of issues with Ohio State University, but we're going to continue to get it done and get it done right. So we're here today to show forth our commitment to building coalitions, to working with anybody who wants to work with us, so that we might be able to break the backs of the monopoly, finance, capitalist machine. These are the invisible people who live on islands, who have mansions and warehouses in California, people that you don't even know. If you saw them walking down the street, you would know the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, the Chubbs, even though I'm a descendant of Thomas Caldecott Chubb, who founded the Chubb Group of insurance companies. Those people that are rebuilding the World Trade Center, they have over $1 trillion in assets. Thomas Caldecott Chubb III, one of my distant white cousins. I wrote him a letter. He never wrote me back, of course. And I demanded reparations and repatriation. All of these things are part of what we're doing. We're actually doing something in this third millennium since the holy conception, the holy birth, the holy life, the holy ministry, the holy death, burial, and resurrection of the Messiah, Yahushua, commonly called Christ Jesus. But that was never his title, Christ, because there was no English 2,000 years ago on the planet. And Jesus, there's no J in the Hebrew. He was Messiah Yahshua. So basically, we're here bringing about an educational and economic understanding and overstanding, so all people might come to a better way of life. We're actually doing something in this third millennium. We're not just talking. We had marches when President Obama came at the University of Michigan on May 1st, 2010. We had our signs, finished the work that my wife, Mrs. Kahemba Linnea Shea, drew, just like you saw the Selah in the beginning of all the great gospel singers. She drew a picture of President Obama shaking hands with Abraham Lincoln, and we've written him letters asking him to come to the White House. We've beseeched him to do the right things, to socialize the medicine, to put the bankers on trial that stole the houses of the people. We told him to take Cheney and Bush and put them on trial with all the bankers for the $800 billion bank bailout. But he didn't do any of those things. He's just middle of the road. And I wrote him a letter saying that Yahweh would spit him out of his mouth because he's lukewarm, straddling the fence, driving down the middle of the road. That's the worst place to drive. So we are here saying that we have to do something for ourselves. We've got to build our own coalitions. We've got to network. We've got to demand our reparations and repatriation, not only from the Europeans, the white people in Britain and America, also from the Arabs who have all that oil that they've taken out of our land. North Eden or the Middle East is our land. Israel is our land. Arabia is our land. All those people that are there now are immigrants. We were the first people there. So if you want to talk about Black History and Black History Month, then you've got to begin to talk about those kinds of things. We are more Hebrews than the white Jews are in Israel. We are the Hebrew Ishmaelites, the Isha, like you strike a match. So all of these books here, all of these famous people and these faces, Harriet Tubman up here, I call her Moses, not Black Moses, but she's just Moses to the slavery people because Moses was a black man anyway. His name was Moshe. You've got all these people. Mary McLeod Bethune. My aunt Bertha Hinkle worked for Mary McLeod Bethune. She was her record keeper down in Atlanta, Georgia. Got all these people and their pictures that are up here. Frederick Douglass and all of these folks. Some were entertainers, some were actors, but they were all activists in some way or another. All of these people are down here in the African American Extension Center here at 905 Mount Vernon Avenue, the building that we built from our struggles at Ohio State University. All these people are people whose shoulders we stand on. And we are saying to the young people, get involved. Just don't read the history, be the history. Once again, I say just don't read the history, be the history. And be what you are supposed to be, part of the third millennium activists and prophets. So here we are today in this extension center of Ohio State University, starting the New Jerusalem End Time Fellowship. And what we're doing here is a historical thing. It's a historical piece. We're here to say to the people that we're going to use all of the resources, the internet, the schools, all the funding, all the churches, all the mosques, all the temples. We want all the religious leaders to become spiritual leaders. We want them to stop talking about being a civil rights leader and become an economic rights leader. We want them to stop talking about religions and denominations and start talking about spirituality and holiness and doing the right things and getting rid of the military-industrial complex, getting rid of the prison-industrial complexes, getting rid of the medical-industrial complexes, and stop straddling the road. Stop thinking that the politicians, even Barack Obama, can solve everything. We've got to solve our own problems. There's no cavalry coming over the hill for us. We are the cavalry. We have to sound the alarm. That's why I'm taking this trumpet to New York on July 4th, 2012, and sounding the alarm at the Perfection March on Wall Street, which we've been organizing for almost 2 years now. And we've told everybody about it. And then MoveOn.org and Adbusters and the filmmaker Michael Moore stole the divine idea that Yahweh gave me, and the Community Organization for Abundant Life pulled the rug out from under us and began to go out there with the Occupy Wall Street movement, as they call it. It's not even a movement. You can't have a movement that's standing still. You can't occupy something and move at the same time. That's an oxymoron. You can't do both. You can't sit still and move. So we're talking about an economic rights movement. And this display that I have over here are some of the shirts. This is the prayer towel that I had in the prison, where they imprisoned me for 16 years. Yes, I was in prison, and like Malcolm X said, don't be afraid or scared or shocked when I say I was in prison. You're still in prison. That's what America means, prison, and that's where you still are. And here's the prayer towel that I had all the brothers put over their shoulders when I taught them how to preach. And I licensed and ordained 24 ministers while I was in the Michigan Department of Corrections. They're on a false charge, falsely accused and wrongly imprisoned for 16 years. You lay out 16 calendars, I did them